Hey, everybody, this is Andrea Jenson from the Cash Flow CFO, and you're listening to the Cash Flow CFO podcast, the show that explores the financial side of running a business for people who want to maximize profitability and scale with confidence. If you want to make smart financial decisions based on data and put more of your hard-earned profits into your pocket, this is the podcast for you. This episode of the Cash Flow CFO podcast is brought to you by the Cash Flow CFO. Did you know that on average, business owners have up to 84% of their personal net worth tied up in their business? Our virtual CPAs and CFOs, as well as accounting and bookkeeping experts, empower business owners just like you to make big leaps that help them maximize profitability and scale with confidence. Visit thecashflowcfo.com for more information, and thank you for listening. Our guest for today is Eddie Del Canto. Eddie started his insurance career in the late 1990s and has since made significant contributions to the commercial insurance industry. Before co-founding CompSure Insurance Solutions, he played a crucial role in the profitable growth of the workers' compensation commercial segment at Wells Fargo Insurance Services and the Hayes Companies, now Brown & Brown. Eddie was also a key producer for Employers Direct Insurance Company, a direct specialty carrier that provided relief to employers burdened by high premiums in the early to mid 2000s. Additionally, he made valuable contributions to the Pacific Business Division for Liberty Mutual Insurance. Mr. Del Canto holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a focus on service sector management from California State University, San Marcos. He is licensed in fire and casualty insurance and holds the Commercial Lines Coverage Specialist designation. Outside of his career, Eddie's passions include his family, friends, music, basketball, and assisting employers in negotiating the best workers' compensation rates and services. Welcome to the show, Eddie.
Thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for the intro as well. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. No, you're welcome. I'm excited to have you here. This is insurance. The world of insurance for so many business owners is one that I think is there's a lot of nuances to it, intricacies, and it's almost like you need to take a degree in just insurance as a business owner to understand all the different types of insurance that you need to have and how to navigate it. So I'm super excited to have you on today so that we can talk about and you can share your expertise and help our listeners out and our viewers to, learn a little bit of something, add to their toolkit, and, hopefully it will help them to, as they come up against having to go through a policy renewal or get a new policy for a new business that they're starting or they've acquired. This would be something that they can get some info and get them at least on the right path, right? Because I'm sure there's a ton and not enough time to go into it all today. But welcome to the show. And I'd love to just find out a little bit, how did you get started in this industry?
Again, thanks, Andrea. And you're absolutely right on everything you said. It's an interesting space, the commercial insurance segment. It's very convoluted. And we'll get into that. How did I get started? Well, kind of a funny story is right out of college, after college, I got my first job at Kodak selling large printers for state and local government. I did that for a few years and had a great time. And then I ran into a recruiter. And he was an insurance recruiter. And he's like, Eddie, have you ever thought about doing insurance? I'm like, insurance? Like suit and tie? No way. That's not for me. And he's like, no, Eddie, it's a very unique opportunity. It's a company called Liberty Mutual, and they're hiring young producers that have no experience, no broker experience. They wanted to train them. So I said, you know what? I'll have a shot. I'll have a look at it. So did a few interviews, and they offered me the job, and I landed at Liberty Mutual right here in Orange County, in Orange, city of Orange, in 1999. And the interesting thing is we were new, but we were working on large risks, large insurance. Actually, it was a middle market, but to me, it was large. 50,000 in premium to 8 million in premium, these huge companies. So I got thrown in the fire. And really, the beauty about being with Liberty Mutual as a direct agent is I learned the ins and the outs on how an insurance company would price an account, the claims, the loss control, the service needed to go into a business. So it was a great experience, but really that's how I fell into it, was via an insurance recruiter. And I haven't looked back since 1999.
Mm. So it sounds like you kind of came in and looked at it from a different angle, right? To know, oh, how would they price it? How would they? So it's not just the, fill out this papers. You're not just taking orders, if you will.
Absolutely. And you hit on a great point, is having that experience of working for the direct agent, the insurance company. I learned the tricks of the trade of the pricing and how much of a variance there is in pricing and how much of a human element there is in pricing and how much a business owner can control or learn how to navigate to position themselves for the best renewal. And it was because of Liberty Mutual. And yeah, that's really where I learned it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And they're, great company. They're still around. And so they must be doing something right because they're still one.
Yeah.
Are they one of the biggest?
They're one of the largest insurance companies. Now they
Wow.
have a direct model, meaning brokers are able to access their pricing. Back then, I was a direct agent. There was only a handful of us that could access the pricing and services and deliver it to clients. But definitely one of the best carriers around still, I think.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me how your career progressed, because I know now you've started and you own your own company, and I can't wait to talk about that as well. But how did the next bits of your career unfold to kind of get you to where you're at now?
Sure. So over, from 99 to 2012, 13 years of dealing with CFOs, controllers, owners, the C levels of these companies, there was a reoccurring theme. I mean, literally, I could have 9 C levels in a room and ask them one question on commercial insurance, and the theme would come up. And the theme was, why do we have to wait till last minute to get a quote? Why are we presented numbers last minute? Why are there no options? Why do we have rate increases with no justification? The only justification was, oh, sorry, your mod went up or you had too many claims and we're increasing your premium. And that's it. The owner, and you'll attest to this, the owner felt powerless. They had no control in the process. The broker, and this is not against any broker, but really the broker controls the entire process. So as my career progressed, I saw this need come out of the marketplace, and the need turned into CompSure Insurance Solutions. Now, one more funny story is before I jumped and left selling the product and came on this side of it where CompSure is, and we'll get into that later. One of my clients, okay, I wish I could take credit for creating CompSure, but one of my really smart clients kept bugging me for 2 years. Eddie, there's got to be a better way. Why don't you try doing what I do in my segment and try to do it in your segment, in the middle market commercial insurance space? And for 2 years, I'm like, no, this. And then all of a sudden, it just hit me. I decided in 2014 that I'm going to leave the selling side. And I went into business with this business owner who was my client at the time. And we're still in business. And now we're approaching 10 years come July of next month.
That's
So,
amazing.
but he really helped me spearhead. He's a visionary, so he helped me take it to the next level. And now we have a proven process, and it's just exciting. Every day I get up and I help business owners literally reduce workers' comp and other policy lines of insurance, period,
Yeah,
all day long.
that's such a great story. I love that. I love when somebody takes an outside view of an industry that's been just kind of the same old for, I mean, how many years has the
Forever.
insurance industry just
Absolutely.
been doing the same thing before somebody goes, hey, there's got to be a better way, right? And
Yeah.
usually it's the end user that's like raising their hand going, there's got to be a better way to make this, um, so.
Andrea, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's funny, but okay, and then we'll get on. But that he's the co-founder with me. But that gentleman who I was the broker on and insured, and he was helping me get to the next level, and we are now in business together. What we did is we ran his company. He's got about 30 employees nationwide. He was the first company that we ran through the CompSure model. Okay. And the first client, he was our first client. We ran it through the model and we had a 33% reduction in premium all across the board. Our first client. So that's when we knew we were onto something. And then to this day, our average is about an 18% reduction in total cost of risk and premium in the whole bit. But he was the first one we ran through.
That's amazing. I love it. So let's talk a little bit more about your company and the platform that you developed, because I'd love to, dive into that and explore how it's helping businesses, to save money and understand. I think even if you just give somebody more clarity into something that's like, I don't know, I just get out this big stack of papers and I don't know what to do with it, what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. So the process, I'll back up a little bit, but really the goal of the process is to position the client, okay, the business owner, the yous of the world, to empower and position you to get the most optimal pricing and services at each renewal or when you decide to take your program out to market. So that's the big picture. What we did is through, we invested a lot of time and energy in this and custom programming. We're able to build a proprietary system to collect data, okay, collect client data. And then what we essentially do is we go out to multiple brokers within a specific industry, whether it be construction, retail, distribution, wholesale. We collect the data and we're engaged by that business. And we go out to multiple brokers because, as you know, and again, this is nothing about a broker, but each broker possesses very important relationships with certain insurance companies. Not all. Each broker has their preferred relationship, right? So we go to multiple brokers with their preferred relationships with the information that we've created. We give it to them and they go to their preferred carriers, and we're facilitating the entire process. And what we've done is we've taken back the control and put it back on the employer side, on the buy side. And we tell the brokers, we want all the quotes to come in on a certain quote deadline. This is the information that you'll be using through our proprietary system that we've created. We have a proprietary submission data. It's really cool. So the beauty is the broker's happy because they have a complete submission to go and get the best numbers from their carriers. The client's happy, and that's why we started this. Ultimately, it's to help and improve the position of the client and reduce ultimate cost of risk. But we really are an extension of the business. Okay. We collect all the data, but the business owners, they run the show. They make all the final decisions, meaning they make the decision on which brokers they want to participate, what the quote deadline will be. We set it, but they approve it. It's really an employer-driven process, but we've created the tool to make it easier for them to facilitate and navigate through the renewal.
Yeah. So back up just a tiny bit and share what's the typical process that most business owners now who are going through insurance, like walk me through what that looks like for them so that we have a comparison of what the platform does.
Start scaling with confidence today. The Cashflow CFO is a full-service accounting and fractional CFO firm. So it goes without saying that our financial experts are phenomenal at number crunching. But more than that, they are expert communicators who will connect all those complicated financial dots in a way that just makes sense. We don't wait in the wings and check in every so often either. With our boutique approach, we position ourselves front and center, watching over every dollar that comes in and out of your business as if it was our own. So if your business is making money and you're ready to take it to the next level, but you're not sure you completely understand your numbers, and you're looking for that trusted guide to help you build a roadmap to reach your financial goals, it sounds like we would be a great fit. Visit thecashflowcfo.com and let's get started empowering you to build and scale your business the way you want to today.
The current landscape and how it's been pretty much delivered forever is the client, the business owner, will have one broker. Okay. The broker has done a great job to say, Andrea, pick a racehorse, pick me, and I'll handle it. Relax, I'll take care of you. And that's really the process. So what happens is the business owner says, okay, I trust you. Go do your thing, as you should. However, there's a better, bigger position, a better way to buy insurance. So rather than having what the landscape is now, one broker going and talking to multiple carriers and really controlling when he or she will deliver the timing to you and the pricing, the better way is through the comp share model, is having multiple brokers competing against each other. And again, I ask this question when I'm on a phone call with a prospect. Andrea, you compete for your insurance or for your product, correct? Whatever they may be, constructions, everybody's competing for market share. And the 99.9% answer is, yes, I compete for our business. Well, why shouldn't a broker have to compete to earn the renewal? They can still win, but we put them in a position where they're going to have to earn the renewal, which I think is fair. And most people that I speak with do think it's fair.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like, to me, what it sounds like is you've taken, kind of like an Uber or a rideshare, right? You're not providing the insurance. You're the platform that is contract. You're bringing in all the different drivers. When one person, the client says, "I need a ride," right? You're kind of doing the same thing. I need insurance. Great. Let me pull in all the different options that you have, and then you can pick with apples to apples.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And the great thing is we're specialists in our category. So you have this person who is facilitating the renewal that knows kind of the ins and outs of pricing, loss control, claims, what things that you should look for in service. So when we're going out to these multiple brokers, there is a service deliverable, a commitment, a minimum service standard that the client, it's not all about price. However, there is a large component on price. But when we're talking to these brokers on behalf of you, the owner of this business, we're telling those brokers, and this is all electronically, but we're telling these brokers, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Broker, we want you to compete, but you have to deliver these minimum service deliverables.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not just bringing in the best price. You have to be able to provide claims reviews, unit stat reviews, answer calls, deliver certificates of insurance, everything that's standard, they have to agree, and they agree to it electronically. So it holds them more accountable for when they're delivering this quote. They're like, we have rules, we have standards that we have to not only the best quote, but also deliver our service standards to the client.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So what would you say to the business owners who are, listening to this conversation? What are some of the bare minimums that they should know as far as to make sure that they don't just go off of price, and they make sure that they're getting, a policy that's going to protect them and do what it's supposed to do, versus just looking at the dollars of it and trying to find the best price?
Well, I think, and from what I've seen, some of the most sophisticated employers, businesses that I've dealt with, they have an idea of some of these service deliverables that they want to see that they've created with their team, their HR, their controllers, their loss control people. So I think it's always a good idea to know what your minimum service deliverables are. And also when they are talking to brokers, say they don't use the CompSure model. Okay, I get it. If they're not, because this is what we would be doing. But if they're spending the time to interview different brokers, it's important to know, okay, do they have local servicing offices for loss control, for claims, for live claims reviews via conference call? Are they reputable? Do the brokers have any? We check. We have an attorney in house that checks for any sightings on the Department of Insurance against a broker for errors and omissions. That's important. But I don't know if I answered your question, but there's so many different elements that are involved in choosing a broker. But again, that's where we come into play with our over 23 or 24 years of experience in the marketplace. We've learned the things that should be standard service from a broker. And if they're not getting it, well, guess what? If you decide to go out to market, you're going to get it because the broker's going to sign off on this service deliverable.
Gotcha. And does your platform work for all different industries, or when you're shopping for workers' comp insurance, you should find somebody that's industry specific?
So our platform, we have clients in every industry. Okay. For the workers' comp portion, if you're paying workers' comp premium, we can help you. If you're paying workers' comp premium right now and you're not using the CompSure model, then I don't mean to sound so arrogant, but you are overpaying. So we can help any industry in any segment. Our platform, we have over 150 brokers that are on our in our process. I don't want to say network because network sounds like it's a preferred deal, but we have at any given time, we have over 150 brokers that we can push a button to. I'm not saying 150 brokers would compete in the trucking segment or construction, but we have specialty brokers for pretty much every segment. So that's the power of our processes. We would bring in, I joke about this, but it's true. My job is great because I deal with some of the smartest brokers on the planet. I'm not very smart, but they are. And when I'm communicating to these brokers about bringing the best program to an Andrea, they come up with great programs. And it's amazing and it's fun and it's empowering the employer because now the employer is seeing options that, well, my broker never brought that to the table. Okay, it's not his or her fault. They're just not made to bring that, but there are some brokers that are, and here you go. So it's a fun process. I love it, and more importantly, our clients love it. They tell us all the time that we're the best kept secret. So yeah, we are working on changing that.
Right. So I know you've been in this industry for many, many years and you have a lot of experience and you've kind of seen trends and things come and go, I would imagine. What are some of the things that you see that are coming down the pipeline for business owners that they should be just kind of have on their radar for just insurance as, an industry in general or specific to workers' comp? Anything there that you are seeing and kind of going, oh, this is going to be interesting?
Well, it's already started. And I know people listening to this or watching this, unfortunately, the property, GL, and auto market for the commercial insurance is terrible. So prospects, clients are receiving increases as we speak right now across the board, double-digit increases. So that's on that side of the insurance. The workers' comp, it's still a soft market, meaning pricing is still high, but it's a little bit softer. Now that trend, everybody in the industry has been talking for the last 2-3 years that pricing will be hardening. We just don't know when it's going to happen. I've seen it a little bit, but regardless, Andrea, of the market, the best solution for the employer is to beat the system and have multiple brokers competing with their preferred carrier to reduce the fluff in pricing from the carrier. We're not talking about reducing broker commissions, because that's a small piece of the pie. I kind of look at this as, here's the insurance premium. The broker commission is only 10% of that big circle. Our process tackles the fluff of the rest of the 90% in fluff premium. And carriers overcharge because they can.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah, that's why you see them with their names on big stadiums and doing all kinds of different
Most
things.
powerful companies in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Insurance, banking, for a reason. So we're a disruptor in the industry, and we want to give some of that money back to the employer, and we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're working with our clients every day, creating a forecast and a budget. And, this is one of the big expenses that you can't go without. And so it's a cost of doing business. And you want to have as much visibility into what's coming down, 12, 18 months, 24 months down the road, because that's going to mean if your insurance is going up, and you're not using a platform where you're able to try and compete and get a good price for a good package or a good policy. You're going to have to find other ways to cut in your business, or you're going to have to raise your prices. And those are two things that business owners don't want to do, right? We don't want to squeeze our clients and raise our prices. We don't want to have to cut from somewhere else in the business. And that's not fun either, to have to say, hey, we're no longer going to provide this because we have to, reallocate some of the budget. Absolutely. So I think that's why I love this conversation with you, because the more empowered the business owner is, right, the policy holders, and the more visibility into this process, well, then you're able to plan, you're able to be prepared. And if coming down the pipeline, you do have to, incur a rate increase, you want to have as much lead time on knowing that as possible, so you can make those adjustments in your business. Because bottom line is, if you don't make an adjustment either on pricing or find that budget somewhere else within the company, that's going to hit your bottom line. And that is, businesses need their profit line item, because that's where they service existing debt. That's where they're paying taxes. They're, part of the owner's comp package is usually in distributions or dividends. And that's where you're reinvesting back into growth in the business. So if you're taking money out of that bucket to allocate into those other four major categories, it's eventually going to catch up with you, and your cash flows, really going to suffer without having the proper plan in place, right? So,
absolutely. And you kind of segue into a really great lead in. What you just said is, again, back to the need and the pain point, because a lot of the businesses that I'm speaking with, unfortunately, maybe 7 days before renewal, they're finding out, oh yeah, well, your comp is going up about 31% or 12%. And at that point, what do you do? So what part of our service and what we've created internally is a proprietary benchmark, okay? And it's a pricing benchmark. And what we're able to do for a client is, about as soon as their most current XMOD is released, and this is usually about 120 days prior to their policy expiration, we're able to take data, input it in our system, and forecast a premium forecast. We're talking 4 months prior. Now, no one gets this. I shouldn't say no one, but 98% of the business owners, the C-level, they will not get this. And the reason why they won't get it is, imagine the broker telling the client 120 days before, hey guys, gals, your premium's going to go up, expect about a 30% increase. What do you think the business owner is going to do? they're going to go out and look at different options. The broker doesn't want them to go out and look at different options. That's the tactic of waiting 1 week before. So if we're able to earn a piece of business and they become part of our platform, we deliver this premium forecast 4 months prior. So you have a sheet of paper saying, Andrea, this is your worst case scenario. And our job is to beat that by 18% on average through the competition model. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. And I think anytime, there's so many different, technologies out there that can do that forecast and do that, but it's access, right? How many business owners actually have access to a tool like that?
Correct.
So congrats on building that. That's tremendous. I think that's great.
It's a very, very cool tool. I mean, we will get clients strictly, they'll come on board because they're intrigued by the benchmark, and then they'll get it and be like, wow. And then, fast forward, I show them the benchmark again and say, remember what your worst case scenario was? Look where we came in. If we weren't here, if CompSure wasn't, you would have been probably above this worst case scenario. Because again, what happens is the industry is able to justify it and say, Andrea, sorry, your mod went up 22%. Rates are increasing. The Department of Insurance just raised their peer premium increase. Sorry, I don't know what to do. And sign, because we need to bind coverage and you can't have a gap of insurance. And you're like, okay. And that's really how it works until we came in and saved the day.
Yeah. Well, I think and that's just it, right? Know better, do better. And by knowing that you have other options out there, I think most business owners don't even realize that there's options. And so sharing this information with them is really cool. And hopefully, it helps some of our listeners out, because that 7-day thing is no joke, right? It's like, oh, by the way, and sign here. And oh, by the way, and you're like, so
yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun to be in that window. And I get plenty of calls of people at that 7-day window going, can you do anything? And unfortunately, no, not in 7 days. I mean, so it's tough, but again, that's why the need for our service, and we're proud of it.
Yeah. So if they are in that situation, let's just say, where they call you and they're like, hey, I have a week or 2 weeks. The best case is, hey, let's be proactive for the next policy renewal and get all these things in place prior to, so like 6 months before the policy renews would be a good time to kind of start researching options.
In a perfect world, 6 months would be great, but I understand how busy the yous of the world are. The business owners, if the 120-day mark, 4 month is really when it's on the radar of the businesses. My insurance is coming up for renewal. I would love to do that. I do have some larger risks that, yes, we did get engaged 6-7 months prior, but it's too much to ask for. I would love that, but just put it this way: the earlier on that you are engaged or we're discussing, it's just going to prepare you to get better and achieve better results in the end. That's really it. So, but back to your question on somebody who reaches out to 2 weeks and what can he or she do? We've had a lot of these calls, and we will give them some tips on how to navigate through that renewal at that moment. We're not getting paid but we will give them tips that we've learned. And then, like you said, prepare for the best case scenario for next year to pick up where we left off and start a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So for all the listeners, go look at your policy renewal date, and 6 months ahead of time, put a calendar reminder in to, start the process. Yeah. Well, Eddie, this conversation has been so good. Thank you for sharing, kind of pulling back the curtains on an industry that, frankly, I don't think a lot of business owners really understand or know the ins and outs of. And so I think just, making this part of a normal conversation, and them hearing and being exposed to it is tremendous. So thank you for sharing, all the information that you did today.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Could I throw a plug in or?
Absolutely. And we will also link in the show notes to your website. And so that, if anybody who is listening and says, heck yes, I need to know more about this, I want to talk to Eddie, you can find his information in the show notes, and go ahead and give your website and your best, if you want to give an email address to reach out, that'd be cool too.
And thank you, Andrea. Really, that's the plug. It's visit our website at www.compsure.net. And then you go to the top and there's a little tab that says connect. You connect and I'll get that email.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been you've been a great guest and so much info. We might have to have you back on so you can just, continue the education.
I'm ready.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and review, and we'll catch you on the next episode. If you're looking for more content or resources in the meantime, check out our website for information, blogs, and our I've Got a Spreadsheet for That series. That's thecashflowcfo.com. Again, thecashflowcfo.com. We can't wait to hear from you.